but we're so happy to have you today. I'm your host. I'm Elise Baughman. I'm the voice of Pan on Dragon Ball GT, among other characters. I'm also the host of Anime Adventures, which is the show where I bring you interviews with anime voice actors like we're doing today. I do those at Comic-Cons when they're happening and at virtual events like today's. Well, let's get straight to it. We're doing the My Hero Academia panel. I'm so excited to talk to Leah Clark and Aaron Dismuke, and I know you're so excited too. So let's bring them on right now.
Hi.
Hi.
There we go. I'm on.
So you're there. So what I love to do, and we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I thought it'd be so cool if you introduced yourself in your character voices, if you'd be up for that in your My Hero Academia character voices.
Aaron goes first.
Aaron goes first.
Oh, gee. I didn't know we'd be doing... I voiced Tamaki... No, this is the voice. I voiced Tamaki Amajiki, or Sun Eater. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That was my best impression of him.
What do you get?
Okay.
That's
there
it.
You go.
I'm Leah Clark, and I voiced Himiko Toga. I don't know. That voice changes all the time, so it just depends. Like, are we angry? Are we excited? Are we crazy? I don't know.
Well, we're fired
Either
up.
way, it sounds like some weird creature.
I know. That's what I love about her voice, though. It does change so much. So you guys have voiced so many great characters in many great shows, so we'll get to that later as well. But let's start with My Hero Academia. I mean, what a great show, what a great franchise. How has it been being part of the show, and what is it that you think, like, why do so many people connect with this show?
Why do they connect with it? I think it maybe because it's a bunch of kids that feel different, and they're brought in to learn about the best aspects of themselves and highlight that. So maybe that's why they relate. I don't know. I play villain, so I don't know why anyone would relate to me, but you do. Representation, right? I don't know.
You can talk general about the show.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think, seeing people make use of quirks that at first don't seem very useful is sort of this nice metaphor that, like, any viewer can look at their own life and be like, I'm a pretty weird person, but I've got my pros. And, you can, whether you relate to, like, Tamaki, who, like, eats squid and then makes weird tentacle hands, or the dude whose name I don't remember that, like, can shoot tape out of his elbows. Like, it's all about, like, what you do with the hand you've been dealt. And I think it's this really nice, like, affirming, agency-giving story for viewers.
How has it been being part of this? And I know that you both have done a bunch of conventions. I have seen you there. What's your favorite part about interacting with the fans of the My Hero Academia fandom? Can I say fans a couple more times?
I think just the enthusiasm is my favorite part. I feel like people are really attached to it, and they have a personal love for it. So it's really cool to see that connection. I've had a lot of people say that it, gets them through hard times and that it's relatable. So yeah, that part's fun. It's always great to see someone with who feels that way and get to see them in person.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
I like talking. I like the fandom's very willing to, like, get into some weird hypotheticals. So, like, talking about, theoretical what characters related to who. Because I did watch it before I got cast in it. So,
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a result, I had some theories about characters, and, like, I mean, it's namely, like, who's related to Endeavor, which is the most obvious one, I guess. But also talking about, like, characters' powers and how they could be used someday. So, like, whenever I announced this con, I brought up something that I've actually talked to fans about a good amount, which is that Tamaki's power is just a better version of Toga's. Yeah, that's right. Shots fired.
Oh, it starts early.
You can drink someone's blood and then you can manifest their physical appearances, right? I can eat someone or something's anything and then manifest its physical appearances. So the only thing you have on me is that you're good with a knife.
But do you get their powers too? Like, can you actually use their quirks?
I think so, because whenever I ate, there was like this crystal guy I was fighting, and when I ate some of his crystal, I was able to embed the crystal he creates into my tentacles. Now, it could be maybe I can only manifest physical traits. So
then that would be that Toga is better, because she can manifest all of it.
Oh, okay. So you do have some advantage.
I have a lot of advantage. I even reappear naked. So
I feel like your main superpower is just that you're incredibly good with a knife. Like, it's the same as stains?
And a siphon.
Do what?
And a siphon. A blood siphon.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're just dexterous and absurdly fast. This should be part of your quirk.
I love that. Dexterous and absurdly fast. I'm gonna put that on my profile. Clark. Dexterous and absurdly fast. Wink.
So fancy. So we do have a question already, and Caitlin, welcome back. Caitlin was at our earlier panel as well, and asks if you could have one quirk, what would it be? I bet you've had time to think about this. Huh?
I want the one where you talk to animals.
Ooh.
Like, you can understand them, and you can, know what they want, what they're thinking.
Do you have animals?
3 dogs. I have one of them right here. Hold on. Okay. This is Adelaide Winehouse Jones.
Oh.
She's my sweet girl, and this is Mars. He's gonna come up here too. I'm in the kids' room because my fiance is still sleeping, so I'm on a bunk bed, y'all, with dogs.
I was wondering what was above you. I guess that was a weird kind of patio or something.
I was just assuming you'd set yourself up in some warehouse.
No, it's kids' room.
Very nice.
Cool.
What about you, Aaron?
Oh, I usually say teleportation because I think it's just better flying. Because if you want to feel like you're flying, just teleport into the air and then teleport forward every few seconds.
Yes.
You're pretty much flying, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I could be in the pyramids just right now. Especially if you can take other stuff with you. Then teleportation is really busted.
Teleport with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can have your answer. You can do whatever you want to.
But if you're talking to a genie and you say, I want the power to teleport, and you forget to say and bring stuff with me, you're just going to be a crazy naked person everywhere you teleport to. So it's important to remember.
True. Details are very important there. Let's see. We have another question. Of all the characters you voiced, who would win in Hunger Games, and why is it Toga? So they're asking okay, so who
they
would
have
win
a guess?
Yes.
For me, it's a toss-up between Toga and Minatsuki from Dead Man Wonderland.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they've both got the killing instinct.
Yeah, they're both really scary. So I think Minatsuki would win, honestly. She's just a little bit more brutal. Toga just doesn't really understand that you don't kill people that you love. Minatsuki's just out for it. So.
What about you, Aaron?
I'm realizing now that I voice mostly soft boys, which ties into a coming comment/question. Yeah, none of them really have what it takes against superpower psychopaths, but maybe Senku has the best chance.
When one uses science to create a weapon, that's when the strongest man is no longer the most powerful.
Even though he has no superpower, he could create some pretty crazy traps. I think he could readily convince someone like Toga that he's worth keeping around, and then he can maybe outwit them at the end.
Ooh,
so that's who I would try for.
almost like a survivor type of thing. I like it.
Yeah, he would have to team up with someone who had muscle, though.
Okay, that's fair. And then, and that was from Jonathan Alexander. I don't know if I said the name. We've also got Jake, who asks, do you have a favorite character / hero / villain from the show? Or is your character your favorite from the show? So, Aaron, why don't you start?
Probably Shinso. He's the guy who can, whatever he tells someone to do, if they reply, they have to do it. Mm-hmm. I think his character design and the commentary he makes about how like the system on which the world is set up isn't fair. Like the way that they select heroes is not necessarily just a meritocracy. It's foolishly tilted to be to the advantage of people who are just like hand-to-hand bruisers, which he isn't. Even though he would be a great hero, he wasn't given the opportunity to do it. Which I think ties into so many things in real life. Like as an actor, for example, like I know that there are people more talented than me who just haven't had opportunities. And I think that that's important to like keep in mind in most professions. That's not like knocking myself. So yeah, I really like what his character like represents and what it adds to the story.
Ooh, that's good. That's deep.
Thank you.
Leah, what about you?
That's not as deep. I really like Suyu. I think the design is fun. I think it's a sweet character. I like the heart that Monica puts into it. I love the voice. And yeah.
Yeah.
Suyu. Frog Girl.
On.
Yay!
Well, in addition to My Hero Academia, y'all have voiced some other great characters. What are some other fan favorites that you get asked about a lot, or some of your favorites that you just like to chat about? So, Leah, what about you?
Kobayashi from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is one of my favorites. I love that show. I miss it. I loved playing her, and I'm so excited that season 2 got announced. It doesn't necessarily mean to be it, but I'm glad that it's continuing.
Surely.
I can tell your body language even changed. You can even tell through the screen.
Yeah, I love you and Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, by the way.
Aww,
excellent work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, mine. Dr. Stone comes to mind. I've really enjoyed doing that.
We have to talk about that. I know people will want to know about that.
Yeah, it's been really fun and challenging because Senku like does so much weird stuff. He's like really like 10 different characters. He's like Mecha Senku. He's like Cooking Show Senku. He's all this weirdness. And then right now I'm doing Kaguya-sama Love is War. Miyuki is also really fun. I think we're on episode 4 of season 2. And even though we're starting on season 2, I have seen season 1. So I feel like I still am like caught up in the character's arc, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice. You know what we should talk about, because we are in the middle of a pandemic. You might have heard. So what is different from you guys? Like, what has changed for work? What are you doing differently for work? Have you learned anything new, any new fun things in your personal life? Like, what is life like for you right now?
Just not having access to your outlets when you want to, and having to take extra precautions. It's like the little tiny things that add up that kind of provide this weird stress that you don't know where it's coming from. But it's just like built up new world, and like that's been flipped upside down. So that's hard. I'm still writing. I'm a writer for Funimation, so we haven't stopped. I mean, that's been a basically anywhere job anyway. So I thought, okay, well, I'm at home, so I'm gonna get triple the work done and have work at 2 days and take 3 days and have a weekend. And that is false, because the stress involved. It's like, I don't know. I just get so distracted and like anxiety, and then there's just like other things happening, and there's no conventions, so that's really hard. Yeah, I mean, we're still recording, but then that gives me anxiety because now I've got to like engineer myself and like do it on an iPad. It's all it's all fortunate and awesome, but still hard.
Crazy, yes.
Yeah.
Now I saw, because you have a YouTube channel, which we should talk about at some point, but you did post about 4 weeks ago and the post was 4 weeks ago, so I don't know when you actually went to the convention, but they took amazing measures to keep you guys safe. When was the actual convention?
I said July 17th or something. I posted it really quickly after.
Oh, you did? Okay. So was that a good experience, or did it just feel surreal, or how was that? It
was all of the above.
Yeah.
I had told my agent, like, right the day before, like, I was in the room, because it was in the hotel they had set us up in was like an atrium hotel. Mm-hmm. And so I was expecting one of those cons where you, like, walk out the door and there's the con, like, so I'm like hyperventilating, and that wasn't the case at all. Like, it was like at the convention center, like across the street, and they just went above and beyond to make sure that, like, I hardly saw anybody. I mean, I probably had interaction with maybe one or two staff even, and they had put 2 tables in front of me, and we did, like, all the selfies, like, kind of perspective style. I just kind of gave them an option to do a video too, in case that was weird, so they could, like, document, like, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm here, she's here, cool. But yeah, it was fun. It was a relief, honestly, and it was great to be able to get back out there. So
that's really cool. Well, I do want to come back to your YouTube channel, but Aaron, what about you? Like, what are you doing, and what is life like during this time?
I still write for Funimation as well. I do it on a contract basis, so I've been doing it a little less. My work slowed down in that regard. I thought to myself, all right, I'm finally gonna finish my manuscript. I'll do all the art stuff. I'll relearn to play guitar, and I've done none of that. I've become a gaming degenerate. But when I'm recording, I can talk about, like, how the recording has changed. So
yeah, talk about that.
First of all, it's a much sweatier experience than it was at Funimation, because I have to turn off my air conditioning because the unit is right outside of the room that we soundproofed, and it's not soundproofed enough. So if it's like a 3-hour session, or if somebody else had a session before mine, then the house is going to be like 80 to 85 degrees as I'm recording in there. Oof. And then, we self-engineer with an iPad, and it's just like, so it's just fingers on a screen, and I have sausage fingers, and so, like, I am always just fat fingering things. So that's nice. What else? There's a little bit more self-direction that's required. Because the director doesn't have, like, playback isn't as easily accessible for the director that you're on call with whenever you're recording remotely. So dealing with that, it kind of feels like I am, like, reverting to my self-directing days, which I've directed myself a couple times in some, like, small roles a few years ago.
It seems like it'd be hard, because I feel like as anime actors, we rely on directors so much in that process. So to go to that where you're self-directing seems like it would be kind of a challenge.
It is a challenge for sure. It's also, that said, there's something a little nice about it, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist type who, if I were self-directing a lot of shows that I've done, I would have done, like, 5 more takes on various lines. And, like, I'm also one of those actors that I can't watch myself without being like, ooh, I really just wish, like, I'll be like, I wish I could have done something a little different, or maybe I should have done something. So it's nice to get to, because the director can't hear or play back what I'm doing, I kind of get a little more say than I would normally when I'm acting. So I can be like, ooh, let me get that one more time. It didn't sound quite right. And they're like, Aaron, this is the 5th take. And I'm like, last take, I promise.
Oh my gosh. Just 25 more takes.
Yeah. I might be abusing the system. It's fine. I don't know.
So let's go back to and talk about My Hero Academia. So Jessica Phillips says, who would be your best friend if you were part of the Academy?
I think I'd get along with Kirishima. But I mean, everyone gets along with Kirishima. But yeah, that's my answer regardless.
I just really love Suyu, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to be her friend. I think she's cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we have Adrian. This is a question for Aaron. With all the shows that you have to dub on a basis, how busy is your schedule?
The answer honestly is not very. Even with, and this is busy for me in terms of acting, because I've been cast this season. I think I'm in 4 shows, which is super rare for me. Normally it's like 1 show every other season. But out of the 4 shows, I'm actively recording 2 right now, and 2 haven't started yet. And like, I found out that I was gonna be in them a couple months ago. So that's just things slowing down because of the pandemic, and deadlines are being, pushed back. And if the deadline for the show that is currently being recorded gets pushed back, then it's going to delay how long before the next show gets started. And then writing, I am doing pretty much every other week. I'm kind of like the substitute guy for whenever somebody else like wants to take time off or something like that right now.
And are you writing on a specific show, or you're just subbing in for, like you said, when somebody needs to take a break from a show?
Specifically, I've been working on Black Clover and Fire Force whenever the active writers, which is Caitlin Barr and Tyler Walker now for Fire Force, whenever they take breaks, I've been stepping in for them.
Nice. And what about your 4 shows, if you can say?
I don't think I can name anything except for Kaguya-sama. Apologies on that.
That's
but
fair.
There's 3 more that are coming, and I'm very excited about it. But that recording right now, it's like, even with like the size of Kaguya-sama, like my character talks a lot in that. But even with that, I don't record more than 10 hours a week. And then I usually take somewhere between 15 and 20 hours per script. So yeah, I'm still, it's like a part-timer's amount of work, and maybe a little more than that.
It's interesting. And I know it's hard to say because it kind of differs week to week, probably.
Yeah, and there's like weird spacings between the recording sessions. So, if you record from like 10 to 2 and then from 4 to 6, it feels like you were booked all day in a way. Like you can't really slot anything in that tiny break. Yeah.
Yeah. And Leah, are you full-time? Because you mentioned you're writing. You thought you were going to get it all done in 2 days and go, woohoo! But are you pretty much full-time writing with Funimation right now?
So yeah, it's a little bit more than a part-timer situation. But like Aaron said, it feels like it just takes a lot longer, like a whole day. And you're like, oh, wow, I've actually only done this much. But it feels like this much. Yeah, and I'm recording 2 shows as well that are still a little under wraps, but
okay, so you can't say either.
No.
Ooh.
But no, soon.
Well, so Leah, I want to go back to your YouTube channel, because you have a YouTube channel that kind of follows the anime convention world, and it's so cool. So talk about that. Like, elaborate a little more about what you have been doing.
Well, it's kind of on pause because I broke our equipment.
Oh, that is a problem, I hear. For you.
Yeah, so my fiance is really good at production and editing and filming and like all this stuff. So he was accompanying me and Morgan Garrett, who's my partner in this. It's Lorraine Clark Explorer.
Yeah.
Like Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, I got that. That's good.
So we went to New Orleans, and Morgan and I decided we're going to stay like a whole week. Well, my fiance who stayed, he's like, well, I can only stay for a couple of days, so I'll film you guys, and then you take over. Here's the equipment. Go. So we're like, okay, cool. So he showed us basically how to use the camera and how to dump the footage.
Yeah.
But he did not, I guess he assumed that I would just know, like, hey, don't run 4K for 5 minutes straight, and then give me a computer full of stuff. So that's kind of what happened, and it's yeah. We got it fixed recently, so it should be starting again soon.
Oh, good.
But, yeah, we've kind of figured out how to scale it down so it's not as big. But yes, it does. It was following our convention experiences and things in the city as well that we were going to.
Yeah, it's a
So,
cool
like,
concept.
New Orleans, we did, the con itself, which is MechaCon, which is amazing and totally themed out. And I can't wait for that to finally get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, did like an alligator tour and ghost tours and just like all of urban streets. So yeah, there's a lot of footage that is breaking our computers.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
One day.
Yes.
Let's see, we had another question come through. So Leah, do you watch the show or read the manga for any of your shows, or do you like to live your character in the moment? Oh, that's a good question, because actors really differ when it comes to this. So what is your preference?
I really do like to live my character in the moment.
You do?
Especially if it's a character I really love. Like, I like to just kind of be there with them. So for, Dragon Maid and for Fairy Tail especially, like, I had no idea what was happening with my characters, and I experienced them at the time, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
I'm really sad. Yeah, especially for Fairy Tail. Like the Mavis whole Zero thing, like, I didn't know how that ended. I also didn't know how the final ended with Zerif and stuff, and so I just like literally cried when I saw it happening, as it was happening. I mean, there's a scene where my character's crying and I'm just like, I'm not really crying, but I am.
Not crying you are. But do you feel like that it sounds like it helps you live in that character space more authentically because you're truly experiencing it right then?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like you can tell a genuine read from a non-genuine read. So I really like that, how it comes out. Like, I mean, you can make it sound however you want, I guess, but there's something about it being authentic that I think really comes through. So.
That's really cool. What about you, Aaron?
It kind of varies. I used to be 100% like Leah with just trying to like be surprised by what happens to the character and letting that, inform my response. But I did a little bit of community theater recently, and I had a character who was supposed to cry a bunch. And for the record, let me make sure I'm right about this. I think I've never cried while voice acting. Like, I've never authentically, I've been doing it for like 17 years, and I've never in the booth cried while my character cries. I've gotten really close, but I haven't actually done it. And so, like, that's kind of a goal of mine. So for this play that I was doing The Pillow Man by, I think it's Matthew or Martin McDonough. Anyway, he did Seven Psychopaths, that movie. But basically doing that, whenever you're doing theater, you can't be in the moment. You can't be surprised by what happens because you had to memorize all the lines and you have to do the same show, 14 times. And so with that, it's all about like coming up with like doing research in advance and coming up with all of this sort of like emotional infrastructure and background of the character and like building like a deep well that you can draw from every time that you perform. And so I want to try that more. It's really difficult with simuldubs though. And so if there's a deep well that can be drawn from, so like Kaguya-sama, the first season is already out, then I'll go for that. If there isn't, because it's a simuldub and it's coming out episode by episode, then I won't try to watch the episode in advance. Because I kind of feel like it's like all or nothing. You need to do a lot of research or none at all.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah. Well, and so switching gears, you both have talked about writing, but you've also directed, done ADR directing. And so how does one kind of help the other? Because to me, all of the things within the entertainment world seem to help each other. Do you view it like that, or do you just view it as separate things? Do you think that it really helps? Like, does directing help your acting? Does directing help your writing, and vice versa? Are they all interrelated?
Yes. I think the writing is especially helpful with the timing. We never change the animation. For those who might not know, we have pre-written things to where the pauses will match up with the Japanese animation, and then we have to speak at a certain cadence in order to make sure that it fits. And having written a whole bunch, when I write, I am always talking out loud with the characters, pretending to be the character in this like weird, like sort of half impression of whoever they are, which can be kind of funny if I've written at like a Starbucks before and gotten some weird looks.
People are like, he's crazy.
Yeah. And the writing especially helps with timing, and I think directing helps a lot with thinking not just about how I feel, but looking at the character above me in the script and being like, they've already conveyed X information and I need to adjust my read accordingly. I can have sort of more of a meta perspective on things.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think directing helps me as an actor learn some different tricks of the trade, because when I started directing, I was directing people who were so much more experienced than me. So it's like A, kind of intimidating, but B, like, oh wow, so watching, for example, Colleen Klingenbeard fit flaps and give like supernatural reads, and seeing that technique happen, that for me was like, oh, cool, So, I mean, I'm focusing on how it sounds, but at the same time, like learning from her, like the technique of how she got that to sound the way that it did. So yeah, I actually did learn a lot of how I read and fit flaps from literally directing Colleen. Basically saying, yes, I like that read, next one. She's amazing.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more question before we wrap up, because the panel will wrap up at 10:45, and we have one more question from Yadhira. I hope I got that right. Can you guys, in your character voice, do your favorite punchline? Do you have a favorite line that you can do in your character voice? And this is from My Hero Academia.
I like the one, this is my first favorite. You're not my type, but I'll cut you anyway. I love that one. And then her like more psycho moments is, you look so much cuter if you just bled a little more.
You'd be so much cuter if you just bled a little more.
I remember that one.
What's that line you have where, how am I forgetting his name? Whatever, your boss with the hands on his face.
Wow, it's the weird hand guy. You're friends with my hero Stain, right? Cool. Let me join the league.
Eric Vale.
He's making you cooperate with Overhaul, and you're like, why should I help people I want to cut?
Oh, yeah.
What was it? I really like that one. Do you remember what exactly?
Why should I cut? Why would I want to help why would I want to help people I want to cut?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I should be thinking about my character. I like, this isn't like a funny one, but I really like the moment where he's like, I've got a light that can, I'm supposed to do it. Okay.
Yes, you have to.
Yes.
I've got a light that can outshine even the suns. That's why I'm Sun Eater.
Yeah.
We actually, I forget what the original was, but Colleen actually, I was like, I think I can come up with something for that line. Because it originally it wasn't outshine. It was, I've got a light that can swallow even the suns. But the original line wasn't that. I actually like took it home as homework and rewrote it into something. Oh. So I got to take some additional ownership of it, which was
That's
cool.
actually pretty cool. Yeah, because you don't always get to do that.
Right.
Gosh, Leah and Aaron, this has been awesome. You guys are both so talented. You're so much fun. I love today's panel, so thank you for being here.
Thanks. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, great. So let's all say bye. Bye, everyone.